What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Survivor Series 2025 reaction show. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and we got to break down what went down on today's show. So first of all, I want to kick things off by saying that I did have a good time with WarGames today. Well, the entire show, Survivor Series, the entire thing. However, I came out of it a little bit surprised by my feelings towards some of the matches, in the sense that I actually thought that my favorite match of the night was going to be the women's War Games match. But surprisingly, my favorite match of the night was John Cena versus Dominik Mysterio. And it ended up being my favorite match of the night, primarily because of just the moments, the unexpected parts of having the women get involved. And of course, having Dominik Mysterio get the big win. So I would say my favorite matches were Dom and John at number 1, Women's War Games at number 2, Men's War Games at number 3, and then Stephanie and Nikki at number 4. Only 4 matches, but I still felt like the show flew by pretty fast. It always flies by, though, obviously, when we're doing like a watch along or like playing games or anything like that. So that did help out. I don't know if you weren't doing any of that. I don't know if the show lagged for you. I'm not entirely sure. The one thing that I am a little bit surprised by is that even though I preferred the women's War Games match, it wasn't by a lot. Usually I tend to like a certain War Games match by like a lot. I feel like usually one is very much stronger than the other. This time I kind of felt like they were a little neck and neck with each other, but I still ended up picking the women's match only because I loved a lot of the interactions that we saw there between the women. But let's go ahead and break down the show and see what you guys thought. Send in your reactions to everything, because this is going to be one where we do got to get into some predictions and some things of teases and whatnot that we saw here on the show. We do got Mitaru here, who says, my match of the night is War Games Women Are Money. We got Infamous Raider Loco, who says, seeing the women's Vegas commercial, love it. Women are money. Infamous Raider Loco also says, great show, great watch along. Thank you, Denise. And Jacob Tatum asks, who challenges Stephanie Vaquer next for her title? That's another question to be answered. We also got Infamous Raider Loco, who says they just showed Liv in a Vegas commercial as well. Okay, good. I didn't see that. Jacob Tatum says, dislike or like the way Cena lost. Dislike or like the way Cena lost the title. I gotta tell you, I actually liked the way that he lost the title, because I loved the way that they had all the shenanigans unfold. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off. By the way, what's up to everybody on Twitch? We just got a raid here. Thank you so much to our good friend Sancho for sending in some of his peeps over here. Thank you to everybody. We're about to break down the show and what ended up going down. So let's get to it. You want to start here? Let's start with this. We got the Stone Immaculate here, who says, I'm 75% positive the Masked Man was Austin Theory. Ugh, he says. All right, let's kick it off with the men's War Games then, since this is where we're at. With the men's War Games, the prediction was that the heel side would win, and that's exactly what we got. I didn't know who would pin whom. That part I wasn't so sure about. It ended up being, I think, a pretty surprising one, with Braun Breaker pinning CM Punk. And of course, I know they had outside help. We'll get to that in a second. But I think Braun Breaker pinning CM Punk should not be glossed over, by the way. I feel like that is a pretty damn big deal, considering that that's a matchup that we're expecting to see, especially right now that CM Punk is still your world's heavyweight champion. So Braun Breaker getting the victory on him, he can basically come out and say, like, hey man, I pinned your ass at War Games, so I want you. Like, I want a shot at this title. And if whenever they decide to go about it, to whenever they decide that Braun Breaker is going to go for the title, he's got that in the back of his pocket. Of course, there's still a lot before we get there, because we still want to see CM Punk do a lot of other things. That was also teased at the end of the show. But before we get to that, let's talk about who actually helped out. In this match. So here's the thing. A lot of people, there was 2 theories going into this men's War Games. One, there was a theory that a couple of the baby faces would maybe turn heel. People question Roman. People questioned CM Punk. People questioned Jey Uso, whether or not one of those guys would turn heel. So that was one theory, that a babyface would turn heel. It didn't actually happen. Another theory, people were wondering if we would see somebody get involved. Now, my answer to that was I didn't really want to see anybody get involved because I thought you already have so many of these big, badass wrestlers in this match that you shouldn't really need somebody else to come in here and get involved, right? Well, they did end up going that direction where somebody else got involved. And it was a guy dressed in all black. And instantly I were like, is it Seth? Because that's what they want you to think, right? They want you to think that it's Seth. And I bought it for a second. I'm like, is it Seth? I'm very easy to trick, all right? I'm easy to trick. I was wondering if it would be Seth Rollins, but the moment that I realized it wouldn't be Seth Rollins was the fact that that person never, ever got unmasked. Mind you, Seth Rollins did have shoulder injury, and he also had a surgery. So clearly the time frame did not match up for that being Seth Rollins. But the moment that they did not unmask that guy, the mystery person, that kind of told me, okay, they didn't unmask him for a reason. One, they want you to think it's Seth Rollins. They want CM Punk to think it's Seth Rollins. But two, I think the real reason is that whoever is underneath it, which some people think is Austin Theory, is whoever's underneath it was not a big enough star for the reveal. Because if it would have been a big star underneath that, you bet your ass they would have done the reveal. But because they didn't do the reveal, that tells me that wasn't a big star. Now, that lends over to the Austin theory. You heard of Austin Theory. That lends over to the Austin Theory because Austin Theory is not a big star at all on the show. So if it was him, and this is the way that he's going to join the Vision, then okay, great. They can reveal that later on an episode of Raw. But that wouldn't be a moment for Survivor Series. The crowd would have been like, what the fuck, man? We're not getting, no, please, pass. I don't know who else that person could have been besides Austin Theory. If it is somebody else, cool. Either way, I don't think it was somebody that was like big considering the way that it was done. We got Fredo here who says Cena got hit with the Pop Rocks. Bro, I'm still not over that. We got Sleaze Boy here who says, let's face it, WarGames is stale. Cena should have retained and be given a condition where he cannot retire unless someone defeats him like Flair. See, I'm surprised that I don't feel like, look, I think John Cena losing to Dominik was the way to go. And we'll talk more about that in a second. We got Steven Marchulli here who says, dude was too big to be Rollins. Theory or wild card cross? Oh, that is a wild card, Steven. Huh. Wild card indeed. All right, if that happens, you take brownie points for that, bro. We got Tracy here who says, see, I would have lost. LOL, but good match, good PLE. We were talking about possibly making a bet there with Tracy and I on this match. But anyways, so the other big thing that happened in this men's WarGames, or you can call it a big thing, call it whatever you want. It might not be a big thing, but whatever. At the end of the show, we did have Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk confrontation. Now, this is not nothing new. We saw this also on Monday Night Raw, where Roman had said he's coming for one of their titles, right? Didn't necessarily specify who. I was thinking that maybe we would get some sort of answer here tonight. And I think the people were waiting for it too. I think people were kind of hoping for this big explosive ending with these guys, but it didn't end up happening that way. Instead, Roman just told Cody Rhodes that this is the last time we're ever going to team together. And I like that because given the history between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and everything that's happened between them, I don't want to see them team up together. I agree. I think this should be the last time they team up together because they got too much bad blood against each other for them to be on the kissy mushy side. And throughout the entire time, like from the very beginning, like we were seeing dissension on this team since this whole team was started. Like literally, the babyfaces went into this match with no shot in hell because they just could not get along. They could not coexist. Hate it. I hate saying the term coexist, but let's be real, that's what it was. And Cody and CM Punk from the very top of this WarGames match instantly were already kind of not seeing eye to eye because Cody accidentally hit CM Punk during this match and CM Punk shoved him. So instantly I was just thinking, okay, this is going to be a long, hard battle for the baby faces here because they're not seeing eye to eye. Big moments in this matchup. Honestly, I would say the biggest moments that stood out to me, and if I'm forgetting something, please let me know. But I think the biggest moments were truly when Roman Reigns went out there. Because once Roman Reigns went out there, I felt like that's when really things started to pick up and get a little bit better because he started going crazy, like hitting Superman punches. Brock hit him with an F5, put him through the commentary table. But once they got their business inside the ring, he was going crazy, hitting so many Superman punches, spears, everything. Obviously, that's when things really got going. A couple of good moments in there with Cody as well. Him doing that jump off the cage, that was fun. But I think that some people, and I would agree with this, I do think that there should have been a little bit more violence because this is WarGames, guys. WarGames is meant to be violent and gritty and nasty. It's supposed to be the match that you go into and your life changes, right? Because you're giving it all you've got to come out on top and be victorious. It's how do I say this? It's like I'm not really sure how to describe it other than that way, but it's the match that you're supposed to do everything you possibly can to get this victory at all costs. So I do think that there could have been more violence in this matchup. And I do think that I don't necessarily think we needed the moment with the guy coming in, Austin Theory or not, whatever. I don't think we actually needed that moment here and now. I feel like that was them kind of overdoing it there. I don't think it was needed. And I get it. People are going to be like, well, that's a really great way to introduce a new member of the Vision. But I just don't think it was needed here and now. I think it could have been done in a different way over on the Raw side of things instead of doing it here on the show. I would have much preferred to see some more dominance in Braun Breaker being able to get that win over on CM Punk, like pinning him there. I just don't think it was necessarily needed. But other than that, it was a fine matchup and some other good moments that were thrown in there. Let me get into some more thoughts and see what everybody is saying. We got David Primero here, who says, Daddy Braun finally got a big win. Hopefully that masked man would be a big reveal. I would guess Tony D'Angelo, since he's been missing for a while. What do you think? I don't think that would be... How do I word this nicely? Okay, please, I don't want to be a jerk right now, but the reason, I'm just going to say what I'm thinking. The reason why I don't think they should have done it is because chances are whoever was underneath it, again, is not a big enough name for it to feel like a big deal. So to me, unless it's somebody really special, somebody that I truly wasn't expecting, I feel like it's going to be a letdown. If it's Austin Theory, good for him, but it's going to be a letdown. If it's Tony D'Angelo, good for him, but it would be a letdown. And that's my true thoughts on that. And that's why I didn't really care for it, because I thought, if it's not somebody great, it's going to be a letdown when the reveal happens, unless it's someone great. If it is, wonderful. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it is someone great, whatever, but I just don't think so right now. If it was someone like, I don't know, people are throwing out all sorts of different people out there, all these different names and everything. Someone's saying it could be a placeholder. I hope so. I just hope that the payoff is good. But if the payoff is not good, then I stick to my original prediction. That's the best way to describe my feelings towards that. Alrighty, let's go ahead and see what we got here. We got Guitar Junkie here, who says the masked man was the Black Scorpion from WCW. From looking at the post show, it looks like Britney Spears joined the Judgment Day. Great stream, Denise. Oh my God. And can you imagine Britney Spears in the Judgment Day? I'm dead. Oh my gosh, Guitar Junkie, thank you so much for that. We got Uncle Donk here, who says, agree with you, D, and wrestlers should put a rocket on someone's back at the end of their career. Yeah, and that's in regards to John Cena and John Cena and Dominik Mysterio. We got David Primero here who says, WarGame this year's child's play, not violence enough. I'm with you, man. I like the violence. I like the gore. I like the when men were men, kind of vibe. Oh, like that's what I like to see. I want to see them go out there and just be like, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. Okay, that's very aggressive. I know. But it's fucking war games, guys. It's war games. I don't want no child's play war games. David Primero. I want this tough shit, that's what I want. But again, it was fine. It was fine. It wasn't gruesome, but it was fine. Thank you, David Primero. Alrighty, let me go ahead and get into some of the other stuff that went down on the show. Let's talk about Dominik and John, because that ended up being my favorite thing of the night. Dominik and John Cena, man, that was fun. I gotta tell you, that was fun. That was my favorite match, not because it was the best wrestling match of the night, but because it was fun and it met the moments and it was exciting. And there were some unexpected moments, which included both Raquel and Roxanne getting their hands on John Cena. Roxanne Perez hit the Pop Rocks on John Cena. I didn't have that in my bingo card. I didn't expect that. That visual was crazy. And what I liked about that is that John Cena is giving these moments to the young kids, right? To the up and comers, that he's giving them a moment in their careers that they are never going to forget. And this wasn't just about Dom. This was also about all those other people that were involved. And especially, JD McDonough and Finn Balor, they also got involved during this matchup. But the big one, though, was Liv Morgan. And it's funny because when Liv came out, we didn't know for sure, hey, is she going to go out there and, hug and kiss Dominik and be on his side, or is she going to betray him? And it was funny because when she hit Dominik, she didn't actually really hit him. Like, her hand went a whole different direction. And I didn't want to say anything because I thought, what if it was a botch? And I didn't want to call her out for that, And then so I thought, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that. And then now that I realized it, because she ended up, jumping. Okay, the part where she jumped on John Cena, I was like, what? Like, what do you know? Like, what are you doing, Liv? Why would you be jumping on John Cena like that? Why? Why would you be doing that? And I was just standing there, like, not really knowing what to expect and seeing her facial reactions. And then she did the John Cena face, by the way. I just realized it now. When John Cena turned heel, remember when he hugged Cody and he had that facial reaction? That was essentially what Liv was trying to do, right? She had that same sort of like deadpan look of, hey, I'm about to turn heel. I'm about to do something here. And that's what she ended up doing. She ended up helping Dominik Mysterio, and it was all a ruse to trick John Cena. And it worked because, again, I even thought for a second that maybe she just didn't hit Dominik because I thought maybe it might have been a botch or something. But then it ended up being that no, she was actually trying to swerve the people. So I thought that part was pretty funny. It did keep me a little bit like it was like some parts of that was unexpected. The way the story played out and how they got to things, I thought was kind of, it had me gasp. It did have me surprised. So that's why I did enjoy that. And then Dominik, of course, getting the win. Of course, he had help from literally everybody, but Dominik getting the win was the right way to go, because this is huge, guys. Dominik defeating John Cena to win back his Intercontinental Championship at Petco Park in San Diego. I don't know how much better those stars could have possibly aligned for Dominik Mysterio. At this point, we got to accept the fact that WWE is strapping a rocket on this kid, and he's going places. I think we've already realized that for a while, but if this didn't help you realize it even more, it does. So somebody during the live stream mentioned, like, hey, man, this is John Cena's last storyline is with Dominik Mysterio. Think about that, because even though his last match is with Gunther, they don't actually have a storyline. Like, hey, he won off of a tournament. That's not a storyline. The last storyline is with Dominik Mysterio. So getting to see Liv, Raquel, Roxanne, Finn, JD, all those people get a moment with John Cena, I thought was really cool. And I feel like John Cena is he seems very giving and giving these people these moments and all of it, right? And then, of course, we still got Saturday night's main event where he wants to show the NXT talent up against the WWE talent. So a lot of stuff to kind of be happy about with that. I loved that. I'm cool with it, guys. So cool with Dominik defeating John. All right. And I know some people are not going to like that, but that's okay. I think that was the way to go. All right, we got David Primero here who says, remember La Luchadora who was played by Deonna Purrazzo, but the reveal was Mickie James? They could do the same thing here. Imagine they make it almost. Yo, that is hella random. That is so freaking random. I was not expecting you to throw out Omos's name. I was not expecting that. Oh, man. Alrighty, guys. Let's get into Stephanie Vaquera and Nikki Bella. This match was very slow, but I did think that Nikki Bella looked good in this match. Look, I thought that when she wrestled Becky, it really was not the strongest match. There was a lot of hiccups in that matchup. This one didn't really have those hiccups. It was slow, but it didn't have any of those hiccups. Like, I didn't see like any obvious mistakes or any weird things happen in this match. They went out there, they had a match. It wasn't the most exciting, but they went out there and they did a match and it was fine. It was good. Stephanie retained. That was honestly all that I can ask for. Earlier on the stream, Jacob Tatum asked, who's next for Stephanie? That's a really great question because right now, I'm trying to think about what are some possibilities. She's had some moments with Roxanne and Raquel, so that could be a possible direction there. Considering that they're heels, so that could work. A lot of the other girls that they have are pretty much baby faces. I would actually like it if she got involved with Asuka, because they would have some good stuff there. If Stephanie got some stuff in with Asuka, that would be great. Kyrie as well, they could do something there. That's another possibility. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. People are throwing out Liv. I don't exactly know. I think Liv will actually start her program with Roxanne Perez. That's more of the direction that I think with that. Liv at some point down the line with Stephanie, but I don't think it's going to be immediate. I do see her kind of going another direction first. Yeah, that was basically it there with Stephanie and Nikki. Let's go ahead and get into the we actually got a couple of super chats here. This is from Hassan Batla. Hassan, thank you so much. He says, besides the Dom and Cena match, which was okay. I lost interest. At least Lash and Braun had a good outing. I probably liked Sammy and Solo 5-on-5 more, to be honest. There's no way, Hassan. There's no way. I watched that 5-on-5. There's no way that 5-on-5 elimination match was better than either of these WarGames matches. Like, I know these WarGames matches weren't exactly the craziest things we've ever seen, but definitely still better than that 5-on-5 elimination. That 5-on-5 elimination had some of the weakest eliminations I've ever seen in my life. No, definitely not. Thank you, Hassan. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, hey, Denise, where's your guest host? Don't have one today, Anthony. People are busy. People are out. So unfortunately, we got to run with what we've got, and what I've got is right here, baby. Thank you so much, Anthony. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Let's get into our women's WarGames match. So, baby faces get the win. AJ Lee tapped out Becky Lynch. That was the way to go, guys. Any other way would have just not really made sense to what they were doing, what story they were telling, and all of that. It just, no other direction would have made sense. But what I did like about this match is that, again, it wasn't as violent. Okay, fine. It wasn't that violent either. It wasn't, I don't even know if I would say it was up there with the best of the women's WarGames. I think we've seen better women's WarGames matches, but I did think there was enough in here for me to get excited about. One of the things that I liked was the order of the entrance that we got. I liked all of the order because everybody had special moments with somebody that they had history with. And I liked that, like Io and Asuka, Charlotte and Asuka, all of those people, like everybody had some sort of pivotal moment with somebody that they had history with. So I felt like the order of which the women came in was really good. I liked that they had Lash come out there last because she is the new kid in town. So her getting that moment to go in there and seem like a real big presence, that was really cool to see for her. I loved Rhea's Terrifier gear that she wore. All of the girls brought amazing gear. Charlotte's was probably my favorite, along with I Oh no, I would say Charlotte's gear was probably my favorite for tonight. I thought that was amazing. But aside from that, the big moments that we got, though, the one, of course, that everybody was waiting on, that we were hanging on for, was Io Sky's dive off of the cage. But this time, she added some more finesse and did a swanton off of the freaking top of the cage with the trash bin on her head. That was definitely not something that I was expecting. I knew she was going to do her jump off the cage, but I wasn't expecting the extra finesse in that. So Io Sky was truly the one that really, that was the biggest moment of the entire matchup. But they did have like they brought in the chain, they had the trash bin, the trash can lid, the kendo stick. So there were some other like little violent moments thrown in there too. But for the most part, I would say what was strongest in this match was honestly the wrestling. There was a lot of really good striking in between some of these women. Again, that played into the part that I mentioned earlier about the order of the participants in there. So damn, man, I can't really say anything bad about the women's war games, only that I would have wanted there to be more violence. And same thing with the men's war games. That's truly how I felt about all of that. Alrighty, guys. So shit. This show feels so short, but it was only 4 matches, everybody. And so that was essentially what we got today with Survivor Series War Games. I like Survivor Series War Games. I had a good time. That was pretty much it, guys. War Games matches could have been stronger, but other than that, it was cool. It was cool. Whatever. I had a good time. Alrighty, everyone. So that's it. That is our show for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the watch along, as well as for this mini review. If you did enjoy what you saw today, please subscribe to the channel. I'm live here very, very often for Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown, pay-per-views, PLEs. I'm constantly putting videos up, including interviews. I just dropped one with Lash Legend. You can check that one out too. I post original content. I post a lot of content. Also, the QR code that you see here on the screen, that does take you to my second YouTube channel where I cut clips. It's called Denise's Pieces. So if you want to join that channel too and subscribe, and you just want to pick apart whatever moments you want to see from my interviews with wrestlers, you can check those out too. The channel's nearing 10,000 subscribers. Very excited about that. So you can support that one too if you'd like. We got Jacob Tatum here who says AEW pushes the limit unlike WWE NXT post show. Wait, what do you mean? He says AEW pushes the limit unlike the WWE NXT post show. No, it kind of just depends on like what we have. There has been some AEW post shows where me and Reg were like, shit, what are we gonna talk about today? Like we've had shows like that where, you know, they've been a little bit shorter than others, but sometimes we stretch it because we'll talk about other random stuff. Sometimes that happens too. But thank you so much to Jacob Tatum for also sending this in. Alrighty, everyone. That is it for us today. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.